All right, everybody, welcome into the noontime edition. We call it High Noon with Pugs and Company. Each and every day here at noon, we try and run down all the things that are happening in the world, all the things you might be talking about with coworkers, all the things you might need to know. I don't want anybody to feel left back, so that's what we do here today. We go through all the different things that are happening in the world. Hot takes galore. Oh, and by the way, if we're going to do hot takes galore, there's only one guy to have, and that's James Parker. James Parker live in New Orleans.
Why do you associate me with hot takes?
Because you're a hot take artist of the highest order. That's why.
Mm-hmm.
You don't think so? You don't?
I think I'm speaking opinions that sometimes between 40 to 60% of the population holds. I don't think I'm saying anything bizarre.
Well, is that your definition of a hot take? Something that's bizarre?
Well, it has to either be far away from the mainstream or said in an incredibly abrasive or offensive fashion for it to be a hot take.
Oh, I disagree. I think a hot take is just an unusually original take on something that people have a more maybe mainstream view of. I don't think it's necessarily. I mean, look, there are people who are bad hot take artists who just say stupid shit just to get a reaction. But no, you're a good hot take. Well, sometimes
Now, look,
it's a good hot take artist says something about something that is just a routine subject that makes you look at it in a different way. Hi, Leslie.
Okay, but it's not a hot take to say something that is mainstream popular, like to say like Titanic is the best movie of all time. I would disagree with that, but that's not a hot take.
Right. A tepid take would be, I disagree with that, and Titanic was overrated. But a hot take would be, that movie sucks ass, and here's why. Leonardo DiCaprio can't act his way out of a paper bag, and Kate Winslet ain't hot enough. I don't know if that's necessarily a good one. I was freeballing there. That was just off the top of my head. But you see what I mean? There's a little bit of heat on a well, that's why it's called a hot take, I would imagine. How are you today, James Parker?
I'm doing good. Fantastic. Kids are in school. Wife is at work, and I'm goofing off at home.
Now, is there a chance that she may join us for lunch? She said she might come home for lunch.
No, she's doing lunch with some coworkers. They usually go out on Fridays. So
I always enjoy the time we get to spend with the lovely Mrs. Parker.
Mrs. Parker is usually only available in social settings, and after she's been relaxed a little bit.
Okay, all right. What does that mean? Sexified or drunk? Which one?
No, wine is her medicine.
Wine is her medicine. Okay.
Yeah, when we go to the grocery store and get wine, I say we got to get mom some medicine, kids.
Understood. Okay. Hi, Steve. Just try to say hi to the people who say hi back to me because it's the decent thing to do here in the for the people who are participating in the chat room. All right. So, well, you know what? We may as well get started. Let's just get off on get it out of the way. Any of the updates that we have in the story that's been sweeping the nation, we've been covering it ad nauseum, if you ask me. He's going to have a little bit of lunch, and then we'll tell you what's happening with Brian Dirty Laundry.
You'll see me lately on the evening news, 'cause everybody's looking for some clues. People all up in my views, they want Brian Laundry.
That's enough. We don't need to play anymore. I just figured.
You
get the idea. It's a good song. All right. So the latest on the search for Brian Laundry, as I see it anyway, is almost nothing. We've got another person who says they gave Brian a ride. They're coming. Apparently, he was hitchhiking a number of people. We had the one girl. I want to say her name was Miranda Brown, I think. Her and her boyfriend gave him a ride on the 26th. Oh, man, I don't even know anymore. But it was somewhere in the window where we're starting to think that he may have killed Gabby, right? Now we got another one. Another person says she gave him a ride too. I want to know where she's been all this time. And is she just going for clicks? Because at this stage of this investigation, there is so much BS out there. I have no idea who to believe. Most of these people are just TikTok clowns who are trying to get people to share their stuff and talk about them and gain followers. So there's that. Then what was the other thing? Somebody was reporting, and my buddy, who's been sort of my go-to ninja on this, my friend Kevin, who's been sending me, anything that he finds that I haven't found, or most of the time it's stuff that we both have, but I do appreciate the effort because he has shown me stuff that I haven't found. He sent me something from earlier this morning where there were reports that Brian Laundrie is actually updating his Facebook page or Instagram account, whatever it is. I'm not even sure. Did you see this? He posted something cryptic.
I've seen that.
Posted something like, one day the story will be told. And it's
I haven't seen the other hitchhike picker upper guy. Isn't there a name for someone who picks up hitchhikers? It's not like a John or something, right?
That's a good one. What is someone who picks up hitchhikers called?
They got to have a name, like some cool jive to speak name,
Yeah. I don't know.
Our grandparents said.
I don't know. Aren't you the one that says you pick up hitchhikers?
I do. I was in, and what was the time frame? Because I was up by the Grand Tetons about a month ago, and I picked some guys up. So,
yeah, may as well. Hey, get that Instagram account going, and then get a TikTok where you claim you picked up Brian.
Wouldn't that be the smart move for us right now? Hey, Pugs, didn't you pick him up? Wink, wink.
Yeah, sure did.
Yeah, I sure did. Yeah. Brian, did you say his last name was Laundrie? That's the ticket.
So explain to me exactly why it is that you pick up hitchhikers.
It was kind of I'm fascinated with humans. You're an introvert, I'm an extrovert, kind of.
Yeah.
And I just love meeting new people, and I like meeting, there's the bell curve of people, and there's the normal people, and then there's the extremely, well-adjusted people.
It's just playing by itself now.
I have that magic. And then there's the extremely maladjusted people. So I like meeting people at the end of the bell curves. Like I like talking to a homeless man as much as I would like having lunch with Shaquille O'Neal.
Well, I would like to talk to a homeless man, and I do talk to homeless men all the time. See, but I don't just talk to them to try and get some sort of, I don't know.
But it's the same reason you like to go
to
other
money.
countries.
Do you give a homeless man money if you're talking to him?
Oh, basically never.
Then you're a piece of crap. Come on, what are you doing? You're wasting the man's time.
I'm usually doing a radio bit, and then I kind of do pay those guys. But like it's like when you go to other countries, you just like seeing how other people live, other environments, other worlds. It's getting outside of your bubble.
Yeah, I will go so far as to here's what I do. Here's how you and I are different. This is why the Pugs and Parker experience is a nice sort of two ends of the spectrum. I almost always give homeless people $1 or change from my thing or whatever. It's just, I'm not trying to morally grandstand or anything. It's just that I have been incredibly broke, and I have looked at myself in the mirror and said, boy, I'm just one more bad event from being that guy. I am just, if I didn't have so many friends, I could very easily be that guy. So I always give him money. I go so far as to whenever my son and I go in a downtown area, he always gets $10. He gets 10 singles. And I buy from the time that he was little. And I say, a lot of times it's for street musicians, because we also support street musicians. Somebody's out there jamming, you give them $1 because that's cool.
Heck
but
yeah.
also if there's anybody that looks like they are particularly, and that's stupid. We just kind of, he gives up his $10 like in the first 5 minutes of walking around downtown. It's not like he has any sort of flow chart as to who's deserving or not. So we do that. And then the other thing that I will do is if I see someone on the side of the road with their hood up and it looks like there's real trouble, like flat tire or smoke coming out of their engine or something like that, I will pull over and help out, or at the very least slow down and say, you got a phone? You okay? Someone on the way? Because, I'll always be willing to make a phone call for them. Won't give them my phone. I'm not crazy, but I'll make a phone call for them to get some people out there. But I will never pick up a hitchhiker. I'm sorry. I've seen too many.
To live on the edge. Well, there's been extenuating circumstances. Like when I was 20, 21 years old, I would pick up just about anything and anyone just out of boredom. I'm not worried about dying. For one thing,
at that age.
I don't think anyone could take me at 21. But even if they did, even if they had like a knife or a gun or something, it's not like I'm leaving behind a wife and kids. No one cares. No one cares when a 21-year-old dude dies.
So, that is absolutely true. Nobody
and look,
cares.
I tell my sons, look, if y'all ever go missing or get kidnapped, no one's going to go looking for you. It'll be me and your mom and your siblings, and that's about it. Maybe the dog. Dog will probably stay home, actually.
Your adorable daughter will rally the community, though. The community will come out and go hand in hand through a field 1,000 strong trying to find any shred of evidence.
Well, that's why I tell her she can't put on too much weight, because then she'll be back in the ignore category. They never join hands and go through a field for a rotund girl. Always has to be a pretty one.
Well, I would, is what I'm trying to say. Yeah, but maybe you want her to put on weight, because then she might leave more of an impression for them to follow.
Well, she'd be less likely to be kidnapped in the first place. So like, look, I'm not going to go through all this rigmarole for a chubbo.
Well, I don't know about that. Hey, let's get into some topics. What do you say? Let's blow through some really quick ones here. Did you see trending right now at #1, and it has been making its way up the charts, is a little something that happened on The View today. Did you see what happened on The View today?
Oh, no, I usually watch The View every day. What did I miss?
You did? Okay, so let's
pull
this
I don't watch
up.
The View, dude.
I used to watch The View for one reason and one reason only. I enjoy their hot topic segment when they're not interviewing somebody, when they're just because I found myself that I really disagreed with almost everything those women said about everything.
Well, I worked in an ABC affiliate, and so we had the ABC on all the TVs at all times. So if I was not concentrating on work, I was having The View blasted at me on my left ear.
All right, well, let's see this. Let's watch this. Something very bizarre happened on The View today, and it's the whole reason why it's trending. Let's see what happened. Oh, The View had here's what you need to know about this clip. Can we see the clip? Do you see it up there?
Looks great.
It looks great. Okay, I just wanted to make sure that it had shared properly. Okay, so you got Joy, you got this one who I don't know, call her Pretty Girl. You got Sunny, and you got Anna Navarro. Okay, so Kamala Harris was coming on The View today. Big deal. Oh, big sit down with the Vice President of the United States. Probably gonna, talk about who knows. Big day on The View. But before the vice president came out, this happened live on the air. And let's dissect the motivation behind doing this live on the air as opposed to in a commercial break. Here we go. Here's The View today, why it's trending.
Two of you to step off for a second.
Okay.
Anna and we're going to bring you back later.
Have to leave.
Yeah. Yes.
And we'll tell you why.
More information later. It's a tease.
We'll tell you why in a couple of minutes. So shall I introduce the vice president?
Yes.
Okay. So, vice president, no.
Nope.
Okay. Shall we dance? Let's do a tap dance. Since this is going to be a major news story any minute now.
Yeah.
What happened
Trending
is
#1.
that Sunny and Anna both apparently tested positive for COVID. No matter how hard we try, these things happen. They probably have a breakthrough case, and they'll be okay, I'm sure, because they're both vaccinated up the wazoo. A lot of vaccines. So,
there you go. That's what happened on The View just before the what do we call her? The vice president. What do we call her? We call her the vice president of the United States. Yeah, that's what we call her. Just moments before the vice president was expected to join the entire panel there on The View, there was a bit of a problem because apparently everybody has to get tested before every show. And you're telling me that they didn't get the results until they were on the air? Was that done for effect so that they would trend #1? Or could they have just as easily have gone to a break and then done that privately?
I didn't know that show was live. I thought they taped it at 8 a.m. and then sent it out to the affiliates or something.
I don't know that it is. That's a good question. You know what? That is a good question. I don't know that it is, because if it's not live, then it certainly was a manipulation done for performance purposes.
If it was live, then I can think of 28 other excuses on why that was legit, and it's not a big deal. Plus, when almost every time we've ever done a show, it's been live, and you have some stuff that, we should have said that on the break, but I guess we have to hash it out right here. Or it could be they tested positive and producer Rick was supposed to tell the executive producer about the positive test, but he forgot. And then Mike comes up and he's like, dude, what are they doing out there? And Rick's like, oh God, I forgot. Jesus. So he rushes and tells boss, listen, I'm sorry. But they tested positive for Friday. I know I was supposed to tell you sooner. I know I was supposed to tell you about 8 o'clock if anybody has a positive test, but it slipped my mind. I had diarrhea or whatever. Mess ups happen in live TV. It's legit and doesn't bother me a bit.
Okay, so it is live. The show is live, so that makes it a little less performative. and I can be a little less cynical about the way that played out on the air. It says here, The View is a live 1-hour daily show from ABC, 11 a.m. to 12 noon Eastern Time. It airs here at 10 a.m. Central Time, so that is a live broadcast. So there you go. We've got an answer there.
Well, that solves that. Then it doesn't bother me at all. I don't think it's manipulative.
Yeah, no. But what I thought was interesting about it was the confusion among the production staff there. Joy asked, do we introduce the vice president now? And the floor director can be seen saying, yep, yes, bring her out. And then, they're like, okay, we're going to bring out the and then you hear the executive producer yell from the back of the room, no! Like, okay. Now, that has to be Secret Service, right? Secret Service has to, at some point, have gotten involved and go, we're not going to send her around this infected crew here. We're going to need to take a commercial. But I don't even know what happened next. I don't know. She came out. Like I said, I don't watch The View.
It's kind of like the game show where all the ladies have the briefcases and you got to call two of them and they leave. It's your number's up. Get out of here.
It's like going to lunch with your mom and her friends and just having to sit there and listen to, their view on the world.
I didn't hear the no guy. I didn't hear the big no in the background.
Well, let's give it another listen. Here, I'll play it with just the audio here. See if, okay.
Because you're like, who's the guy that's ultimately culpable for this show?
Here,
that guy.
Why not? We'll just play it again so you can give it a listen. And I don't know if that's an executive producer or if that was like a Secret Service guy, but here you go. Here we are.
You to step off for a second.
Okay. And
we're going to bring you back later.
Okay.
Yes.
And we'll tell you why.
More information later. It's a tease.
We'll tell you why in a couple of minutes. So shall I introduce the vice president?
Yes.
Okay. So, vice president, no. Shall we dance? Let's do a tap dance.
All right, there. Did you hear that? Did you hear the no?
Heard it that time.
Yeah, there you go. And it helps that Joy echoed it. Because the guy who says yes is the stage manager, and you can kind of see him. He's standing there. You see him sort of,
and he's lower on the totem pole apparently.
Oh yeah, than whoever it was that yelled no because she listened to the guy who said no. So I'm guessing that's it's probably a producer with a Secret Service agent standing right next to him because of what's happening with the positive COVID tests for Anna and what's her name? Sunny Hostin, who they ironically named Sunny Hostin because she is always in a bad mood. She should be Cloudy Hostin because she is always pissed about something.
Cloudy Hostin.
That's what I'm saying.
Always irate Hostin.
I should give myself one.
Hey, have you ever seen any of these sodas that have like the tin foil that comes on top of them? My mother-in-law drinks these. So I drank a bunch of hers during the hurricane. So when I bought some to replace hers, she gave them back to me. And so now I'm drinking these things, but I've never seen a soda that came with a little foil top on it.
It comes with it? What is the purpose of that? So you don't spill it or so that it keeps it from losing the carbonation?
That's kind of my question. I think, but this is ridiculously expensive. It's called limonada, and it's like Sprite, except it's opaque. Like you can't see through it. It's yellow. It kind of looks like pus. But maybe it's to keep dust from getting on there, so you're not drinking out of something dirty. It keeps it clean.
I've seen the have you seen the new rubber stretchy things that go over cans? Those are really great. But so the rubber things are airtight and they're supposed to keep the carbonation in. You can buy them at the grocery store. They're like $10 for $2, 10 of them for $2. And they're different colors. And when you can't finish your can, which what kind of a bitch can't finish a can of soda? I mean, what kind of a person drinks 2 sips out of a can of soda and then just is going to save it for later?
I know the guy that's making a bourbon and Coke.
Oh, look, James, there you go. That is an acceptable answer.
High five.
Yep. I'm going to get my thigh out here. Okay, here we go. 1, 2, 3. Dude, what?
We nailed it. What are you talking about? That looked great on my end. You must have a lag or something. That looked good.
All right, let's see what else is happening here. Chris Cuomo is trending all day today. You want to have a guess why?
Is it a viral video that leaked of him or a viral picture that leaked of him?
No, it's because he apparently sexually harassed his former executive producer at Primetime Live on ABC.
Oh, man, why are you ruining it for me? I was trying to go easy on you, Chris.
Yeah.
Fredo.
Let me say this about Chris. First of all, the Fredo thing doesn't really work because
it's not a slur.
Well, not only is it not a slur, but Chris Cuomo is super successful. That dude makes millions of dollars a year.
Oh, yeah, right.
I mean, Fredo was a guy. Now, he would have been Fredo if he was like his disgraced brother Andrew's manservant. Then he would have been Fredo, because that's what Fredo was to Michael. Fredo was sort of like Michael's little bitch boy because they couldn't trust him with anything. But I get the insult.
They had him overseeing Mo Green in Vegas for a while. I know it didn't work out that well.
How'd that turn out? Yeah, I was gonna say, how'd that turn out?
They at least gave him some sort of role. But yeah, the Fredo thing doesn't measure up because I'm pretty sure he makes more money than his brother.
Yeah. And do we even know if there's another brother? Do we care? I mean, I don't even know if there might be another brother.
There's like a special one they keep in the attic.
Here's the thing about Chris Cuomo, okay? And we're going to get into the details here. I used to kind of like Chris Cuomo, and then I kind of started to. Here's my issue. I can be fooled initially by somebody's bullshit persona. Like if you're going to be a big phony guy, I can probably be fooled by you for the first 20 or 30 minutes that we're around. And I may tell people in those first 20, hey, he's a good guy. He's a good guy. And then I start to get a little bit more critical and a little bit more, look side eye at the dude. That's how I am on Chris Cuomo. I used to kind of like him. I used to kind of enjoy his presentation, the way he presented things. He has a way of dumbing down complicated issues he really does. He has a way to make it. I used to say Chris Cuomo would make a great kindergarten teacher. Like he could come in and he could explain the way more complicated issues work for children, because that's what he used to do. And then, and I know when it was during the Ferguson riots. They sent Chris Cuomo down there. Chris Cuomo was out there doing the Ferguson riots, and he was wearing a polo shirt. And the polo shirt was like a size too small. And he was wearing a size too small polo shirt intentionally.
Well, he works out, and what's the point of doing all that working out if no one gets to see how buff you are?
As it turns out, Chris Cuomo is a vain son of a bitch. He is a vain man. This guy, I mean, he's got... I understand he was a terrific athlete as well. So he's a good-looking man. He comes from a wealthy, connected family. I am certain that he did not make his way up the broadcast ladder in the way that you and I did, by doing ridiculous stunts to get attention for ourselves.
And staying at the bottom most of the time, yeah.
Right. He seems to have a nice family, a home in the Hamptons. As I said, everything came up aces for this guy in the deck that was dealt to him at birth, right?
His daddy was the governor. Yeah, my dad was not the governor.
My dad was not even alive. So right. There you go. That's the difference. And he's also, I have seen him over the years, the way he interacts with people, especially women. And he is a guy whose natural default setting is flirtation. We know these kinds of guys, and they're always good-looking guys who are uber confident in everything that they have to offer. And it may not be sexual in nature. It may just, like I say, I think it's just his default setting where he can't help but be like, well, you look great tonight. He goes, well, he's also got a degree of self-deprecation that really plays hollow to me when you look like Chris Cuomo and come from Chris Cuomo's family. It seems a bit ham-fisted. So this idea that Chris Cuomo has a bit of a history in the world of sexual harassment doesn't surprise me at all. But I would also say, I don't know that I don't necessarily think that he's trying to slay every woman that he sexually harasses. But here's the thing. In his mind, he knows he can, or believes he can, because of that uber confidence. So, this doesn't come as any surprise to me that after his brother, former governor, disgraced governor of New York City, got taken down by bad behavior, And think about the brother. That's the ugly brother. Andrew Cuomo is the ugly brother.
Yeah, he's also like a 66-year-old man with nipple rings.
Oh no, really?
What?
I did not hear reports of nipple rings. Is that true?
In some of those press conferences that he was having, he got an Emmy for his nipple rings. He was wearing a shirt that was a little too tight because he works out too, and he works out pretty hard. He's pretty. I hope I'm that fit when I'm his age because I'm not on pace to do that. But you could see him poking through just a little bit, just the pugs. If you just pay attention and look down on some, just do a quick Google image search. Just do an image search on
really.
Governor
I'm
Cuomo
gonna have
nipple
to
rings.
do this now.
Because it didn't just happen once. This has happened like 10 times. And it's like, okay, the first time someone would have pulled him aside and like, dude, everyone can see your nasty little perverted old man nipple rings. You need to, I don't know, throw on an undershirt, forego the nipple rings, or put on a cardigan or something. What was that? Because Chris Christie wore that fleece for like 2 straight weeks. You can't get a fleece.
Think of the sweat. Okay, so let's see if we can pull.
I'm sorry to do this to you, but
no, this is fine. This is
but it's
breaking
sort of
news.
relevant because it is indicative of the culture you described. His default setting also seems to be on flirt as well. My default setting was on flirt until I was like 23, and I was like, okay, now I'm just gross.
My default setting was never on flirt. My default setting was a little bit more self-aware. It was never on flirt. It was always, I'm the kind of guy.
I've seen you be in a flirt setting if you're like a station event. And you're surrounded by people who are already fans of the show, or most of them, or they're just in the same crew.
Well, yeah,
it can happen on a Saturday night.
That's yeah. I mean, it's a different kind of confidence thing.
Well, it's also not your default setting. That's not your default.
It's easy. It's easier to be flirtatious and confident in your flirtation when people are there to see you. That's really
absolutely.
That's a drug that really gets into your head.
But you do it on Saturday nights on special occasions. He does this all day, every day.
All right, so let's scroll through these.
Oh,
oh my God!
It's on both of them. There's some more. There you go. Look. So when the sexual harassment accusations came out against him, I was like, I can believe it. I can believe it. No other reason to have those. It's sitting for a fashion show.
I really want to do a deep dive on the sort of psychosis that has a man in his 60s getting nipple rings, because he didn't get these nipple rings when he was 18 years old and stupid. And if he did, he probably would have taken them out a long time ago. Those are midlife crisis rings. That's what
he probably got them when he was like 46.
No, if he's 66, he got him in the last.
I don't know how old he is. I was just throwing out a number there that I figured was in the ballpark. How old is he?
Who's this? Andrew Cuomo, ex Sandra. Oh, that's his ex. Hey, if she likes nipple rings,
Lord, yeah, I might have to get some.
Yeah, hey, whatever she wants, man.
I take it back. I take it all back. I was wrong.
Oh, look at that right there.
I know. There it is. It's hanging there.
He's not even hiding. Where is the shame? Does he think that's cool, or does he know that's absolutely weird?
He knows it's cool, but it's like a little bat signal. It's like why some guys talk with a lisp in order to attract new partners.
What? What's this? Let's follow this down the rabbit hole. What is that theory?
That the gay lisp is a signal
to
guys to let them know that he's gay.
Oh, so you think that it's an actual put on, that there really isn't a way that gay men speak? Because I have long believed that is the curiosity of being homosexual, is it's undeniable.
Right.
It's not the list, but it's a way of speaking. And there was even a documentary that I saw a couple of years ago, something like, why we talk like, or something like that. And I thought it was very interesting, but so you're saying that in some cases it's a put on.
Well, not so much as a put on, but they could cover it up if they wanted to. Maybe they naturally would speak like that if they're just being themselves and being, they're the whole flamboyant side of it. But there's the guys that aren't flamboyant and they're passable as hetero from all other cultural measures, shallow as they may be. And if he hears the lisp, then he knows then he knows, right?
Yeah,
And
I
so they
guess.
can, yeah, it's kind of like a beacon where they can call out. So Andrew Cuomo has this beacon. He's into this lifestyle. This is a sex thing. This isn't a fashion thing. This is a sex thing, and he wants other people to know who are also in that lifestyle. You think like a woman that would like to be with Andrew Cuomo finds out he has nipple rings, would she be more or less likely to pursue him? Exactly.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, I think just the name Cuomo probably had a lot of girls, interested in both the brothers.
Yeah, you think that'd be enough? You think that would
They're
being governor would
wealthy.
be enough?
What did Andrew Cuomo look like when he was young? Because he looks really beat. He he looks like his dad looked really beat. Mario Cuomo had this like not great face. Chris seems to have gotten the best of the family genetics.
Well, when Andrew Cuomo was much younger, he looked like Chris.
Did he?
Yeah.
Yeah.
What's the age spread on these guys? Because Cuomo
It's
is
about
63.
15, 16 years. They were not brothers who grew up together. The age spread is like 50. If Chris Cuomo is 52 and Andrew Cuomo is 66, you
63.
said?
63, he'll be 64 in December.
Okay, so the age difference is 10, 11 years. So they did not grow up together. When you're 11 years old and a baby is born, you're not going to share a lot of intimate moments growing up. There's not a lot of
Yeah, you didn't even get your hand-me-downs.
one's a boomer and one is Gen X. They come from two completely generational cohorts. So
Good point. Yeah.
all right, so here's the Chris Cuomo story. Shelley Ross, a former executive producer at ABC News and CBS News, said CNN anchor Chris Cuomo sexually harassed her, describing a public incident at a going-away party for a colleague back in 2005. All right, so this is what? How many years ago? 15 to 16 years ago? I don't know. I can't.
2005, yeah.
I'm on, James Eats. I'm struggling through my allergy medications. Which is why you'll hear me do that. That's not a bored sigh. That's actually just me with my allergy medication. In an essay published in the New York Times this morning, Ross says she doesn't want Cuomo to lose his job, but hopes instead he'll use his power to make change. Yeah, well, you're pretty shitty way of going about it. You're kind of... In an essay, Ross said the moment crystallized for her in the events leading up to former Governor Andrew Cuomo's resignation after multiple allegations of harassment and a damning report by the New York Attorney General. It emerged that Chris Cuomo had advised his brother on his response. Let's get into that first of all. Do you find that to be a big controversy that Chris Cuomo advised his brother? Chris Cuomo is a member of the media.
No, it's his brother.
Exactly.
Of course. He's like, hey, what should I do? From my media brother's perspective, you have some special insight onto this issue that could help me. What do you think I should do?
I would have been shocked had he not, used his, media savvy or knowledge of the media and how it works and all of that. That I think was a bit of a...
Well, the odd part about it, or the scandal part, isn't that he asked. It's that the next day Chris Cuomo has to go on air and act like, well, I haven't talked to my brother about any of this.
Yeah, and people are like, why did he go on the air? What? Because he drew the biggest ratings ever going on the air in the days following. That's why, because he's getting his ass handed to him by Tucker or whoever the hell it is. He's the third watched guy, of the three cable. Of course he's going to take advantage of this. I mean, my God. He's a media animal. We hear about political animals. Chris Cuomo is a media and ratings animal. Of course he's going to go on there. Excuse me, Ross said the moment crystallized for her in the events leading up to former Governor Andrew Cuomo's resignation after multiple allegations of harassment. Nipple rings. That is such a mind blower. In a damning report by the New York Attorney General, it emerged that Chris Cuomo had advised his brother on the response. The host had rescued. Slightly dyslexic. The host had recused himself from covering his brother on air, but stated that I've always cared very deeply about these issues, and profoundly so. I just want to tell you that. Okay. All right. He's Chris Cuomo has this whole vibe where he looks like a predator. Everything about him, if you saw him across the room, you'd go, oh, look at that guy. Don't leave your girlfriend alone with that guy. Don't go to the bathroom in the bar when that guy is lurking, because
don't accept an open drink from Chris Cuomo. Is that what you're saying?
I'm saying that if you go to the bathroom and leave your hot girlfriend at the bar and Chris Cuomo is near, when you come back, you need to expect that Chris Cuomo is going to be talking to her, because that's just what he looks like. So to sort of balance that out, Chris Cuomo, and this is not just in the wake of his brother, over the years, I told you about how he's got this like default setting of flirtation. He's had a lot of women on about women's issues, and he seems to go over the top with the, if I didn't look like your wildest sex fantasy, I'd be sensitive ponytail guy. Like, that's how he communicates, like he's always been, we need to take these women serious. He's been that guy. And, whatever. I don't entirely agree with that, because
I sure am disgusted by the misogyny in this story. By God.
Yeah. Yes. Yeah. Oh my. So here's the deal. Ross, who had been the former executive producer at Chris Cuomo's show Primetime Live, described him entering an Upper West Side bar. Fancy. That's what Upper West Side and Upper East Side. Upper East Side is like older, folks with money. Upper West Side is like, where the Dakota is and where it's a bit more hipper. Upper West Side bar, where he walked toward me and greeted me with a strong bear hug while lowering one hand to firmly grab and squeeze the cheek of my buttock.
What?
Well, yeah, he gave her a honk, like right on the butt.
See, usually these stories are lame. Like he held the handshake too long, or he commented on my appearance, but just straight up grabbing her butt.
He walked up to her, his former executive producer, grabbed her, hugged her tightly, and then his hand drifted down to her buttock, and he gave her the honk right there on the butt. Which,
you think he's doing her a favor? Oh, still like this. Watch this. Honk.
So let's say I run into Sybil, who is our former executive producer, who's a beautiful woman.
Ridiculously beautiful, yeah.
Let's say I run into Sybil at a bar, which, I very well may be, because I love her dearly, and we're not estranged. Well, we are estranged, but there's nothing about it. Well, I just haven't seen her in a long time. It's not like I haven't seen her in a long time because we had a big falling out. No, it's just, people grow up and they do different things. But if I walked into a bar and saw Sybil, I would, one, be excited, and I might give her a big bear hug. But my God, it would never dawn on me to grab her ass and think that would in any way be appropriate.
You know what the worst thing that would happen is if she goes, "What are you doing? Oh, gross." Right. Oh, that'd be so embarrassing that you grow someone out just by trying to be flirty.
And right? She would have every right to do that too, because what the hell? I mean, we got drunk once, like the second time I met her, and I was hitting on her, and I have regretted that ever since.
Mm-hmm.
Because at that point, we weren't even really officially working together. She was just someone associated with the show. And I'm telling you, I still have nightmares about that moment because of the way our relationship progressed. She's like my little sister. And now I think back on that and I'm like, oh God, for shame.
The worst thing about getting older is now that the idea that someone could identify me as a creepy old man is the biggest insult that has ever been in my entire life.
You got to be self-aware. You've got to be self-aware, no matter what stage you're in the midlife crisis. And we all have the midlife crisis.
Well, plus, because she's a former coworker, that kind of breaks another little standard that we have, where even if I am flirty, it's going to be with absolutely zero people at work. And it's going to be with absolutely zero people that are even tangentially associated with the broadcast industry, radio, TV, podcasting, any of that. I'm not going to have any sort of overlap with work or my career or my income or clients or my public, persona.
Didn't you have sex in her office?
Huh?
Didn't you have sex in her office?
Did I?
Yeah.
No, definitely not.
Really?
Really?
Must have been Bobby. Must have been somebody had sex in our office. Somebody.
Yeah, it was Bobby with Nikki.
Oh, Nikki was your girlfriend too, right?
Yeah. We had two Nickies.
Oh, there were 2. Okay, that's maybe why I think that it was you who
It
had
was the
sex
other
in the
Nikki,
office.
and it was with Bobby. No, I don't have that much game. I don't have that much scene control. "Hey, will you come sleep with me at work?" I've never been able to pull that off.
You know what's crazy about that? So when I came to Live 105.3, I was 31 years old, and all of my interns were, in their 20s, their early 20s, interns and producers. And at 31 years old, I felt like an old man. At 31 years old, I felt like I needed to be in a and look, this is, "Oh, Pugs, listen to him." No, you ask any intern that I have ever had if I ever acted inappropriately with them, and we had some attractive interns. It's not like, we were they weren't attractive. And interns, typically, when you have a boss-intern relationship, there is that's the classic sexual harassment imbalance of power, right? Where the boss sees the intern as a certain. I mean, I knew it was an option because we had just come out of the Clinton Lewinsky thing, but it's like something that I never even considered. I just thought that was, well, I mean, I guess, again, raised by a woman, heard a lot about bad dates from my mom as a little kid growing up. So I guess I
But
never wanted to be
look
that
how
guy.
anathema it is. It is antithetical to both of us, and we're pretty disparate people on a bunch of spectrums, and it's Chris Cuomo's default setting.
Yeah. Yes. Okay.
Yeah.
So back to the story. So let's see here. He walked into the Upper West Side bar. He walked toward me and greeted me with a strong bear hug while lowering one hand to firmly grab and squeeze the cheek of my buttock. She said he joked that he could do it now since she wasn't his boss anymore. Now, first of all, that's a ballsy move. I mean, I could understand if he said, "I can do it now because I'm not your boss." But I would never in a million years, under any circumstances, think that that would be okay to do to somebody who was my boss or former boss. Are you kidding me? That is.
Well, it's an executive producer, but she's not really the boss.
Yeah, but in TV, it's different. Well, yeah, I guess you're right. When Chris Cuomo is the, yeah.
Chris Cuomo, yeah.
Let's see, Mr. Dookie Pie. I'm going to read this because it seems like it's a good thing about me. Pugs, I always thought you were very respectful and gentle with most women and even the guys as well. Okay, there we go. That's Lyle. All right. I just realized that was Lyle, and I should have known that there was some sort of a burn coming there. All right, so he lowered one hand to firmly grab and squeeze the cheek of my buttock, and then she said he joked that he could do it now since she wasn't his boss anymore. She said her husband had seen the episode and that they both left soon after. So, the husband sees it. I'm sure that was a weird public fight with coworkers. The hell was that? And you know how he is. He's just, "I never liked that guy. I never trust that guy. This is why I'm glad you're not working with him anymore." Stop it, Brad. You're embarrassing me. I work with these people. Get in the car. Get in the car. Probably went down like that. I don't know. I've just
Or you could have pragmatic husbands like, "Hey, maybe we can sue him, get some money."
Yeah, or you might have a kinky husband. "Hey, think you might want to come home with us?"
Yeah. Hey, why don't you go with him and just send me some videos about halfway through? Yeah.
Or extra kinky husband. "All right, I'm going to go home, hide in the closet. You bring him back."
Yeah. That we found a winner there.
Yeah. But now here's where it gets odd. This is where it gets, because again,
here's where it gets odd. Okay.
well, where it gets more complicated. Okay. So it was 16 years ago. They weren't working together anymore. Yes, you never grab a woman's buttocks, no matter what, unless she's your girlfriend. Even if she's your ex-girlfriend, even if you've been there, you don't get to do it.
If she does it to you, and you already know that if she's invited you to do that to her, then it's okay.
I think I agree with you on that. I think there is, in these situations, an acceptable double standard. And why am I okay with this acceptable double standard? Because there isn't the genetic imbalance between a more powerful, taller, stronger, with denser bone mass man and a woman. A woman has a right to feel physically inferior, not mentally, not psychologically, not emotionally,
Are we talking about the Olympics now? Is that what we're doing?
No. We're talking about why I'm okay with this.
I got it.
Talking about why it's all right for a woman to touch a man's butt, because at any point the man can go, "You better back up." He won't, because that's just not how most men are wired. Most men will go, "Oh, that was kind of interesting. Let me process that for a while and see whether or not she's worth my time to take it to the next level." All right, but here's where it gets complicated. So he grabs her butt. He jokes that you're not my boss anymore, so I can do this. Husband drags her out of the, not drags her. Here's how it's worded. She said her husband had seen the episode and they both left. So that suggests that there was some sort of displeasure on the part of the husband. So they got out of there. However, later that night, Chris Cuomo went home and sent her an email apologizing for the incident and saying, "You know what, that was totally inappropriate on my part and I'm sorry." Does that change in any way that he was able to so quickly recognize that maybe, or was he just in self-preservation mode?
It's only because the husband made a scene.
Yeah.
That means the husband made a scene, or he wouldn't have even noticed. If he thought it was wrong, he wouldn't have done it in the first place. And then he doesn't do it and on his own just decide, maybe what I did was wrong. I'll send her an email.
I'm a public figure. And a bit of self-preservation.
So a scene was made. Other people were made aware of it. There was a little bit of a buzz around the office, and someone probably said, "You should apologize to her. That's jacked up. What you did was wrong."
The Times published a copy of the email. It said that Cuomo told the New York Times in response that, as Shelley acknowledges, our interaction was not sexual in nature. I would disagree with that. Squeezing of an erogenous zone, and I guess the buttocks could be construed as an erogenous zone, is sexual in nature.
Yeah, possibly could. It's
If
definitely an erogenous zone.
Yeah.
The belly button is maybe. The butt, yes.
Depending on what you're into. Hey, man, one of my ex-wives, and I can always shield them from any embarrassment by saying one of my ex-wives, which is one of the benefits of having multiple ex-wives.
Smart on your part, yeah.
One of my ex-wives had one of her erogenous zones, and a really big one were her earlobes.
Not interested.
You just, but it was a way to kick it off. Like if you wanted to leave a party or something, I would walk up and just start rubbing her earlobes.
All right, now I'm interested. Now I'm interested. Wow.
She knew what that meant. And off we were. And it was usually an interesting car ride home. Let's see. The Times published a copy of the email. It said Cuomo told the New York Times in response, as Shelley acknowledges, our interaction was not sexual in nature. It happened 16 years ago in a public setting when she was a top executive at ABC. I apologized to her then, and I meant it. A spokesperson for CNN referred to Cuomo's statement to the Times. When reports surfaced in May that Cuomo had advised his brother, the network acknowledged it, blah, blah, blah. I don't care. We don't care about that. We've already covered all of that. All right, so that's why Chris Cuomo is trending. Any more hot takes on Chris Cuomo?
He's just really, your description was perfect. The shocking part is that this seems to be his default setting. This wasn't like he got drunk at the Christmas party and, goosed someone who's a lateral move to him.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right, let's see. What else is
trending?
The
nipple rings, by the way.
Speaking of sexy time, got a story here. This is kind of interesting. We need to watch this. This includes a video, so let me pull it up. Gorilla is trending. Did you see why gorilla is trending?
Harambe?
Nope, just a gorilla at the Bronx Zoo. Gorilla is trending because...
I know. Yeah.
Yeah, baby. Yeah. Let's take a look at why gorilla is trending and what people who went to the zoo saw. Here we go. All right, here we go. So there you go. You see the gorillas? They seem to be having a whole lot of fun. Oh no. What's happening here? What's going on?
Okay, class.
Oh my
final exam
goodness.
Will be coming up at the end of this week. The test will be comprised of 20% written.
Look at that.
30% oral and 50% anal.
What
Any
the
questions?
hell is happening
Professor,
here? Yes, dear.
will there be any?
Is that your audio? Where's that coming from?
Yeah.
I am so glad you asked.
Little monkey sex. I think we need to see that again.
No, we don't. No.
Come on.
No. Oh my God, why? Why?
There you go. Tell me, little Johnny, how was your trip to the zoo today? You won't believe what we saw, Grandma.
Yeah, well, got a funnel cake.
All right. There we go.
That is just awful.
I appreciate the porno music, though. I thought that was a good one. Thought
Good
that was
touch. Yeah, nice production
better
quality.
than average. Have you ever been to the zoo and seen anything cool?
I've seen a lot of animal sex at the zoo.
Oh, you have? I've never seen animal couple sex. I've obviously seen animals masturbating, and I have a theory that they wait for a crowd to show up before they come out and do that. Because, you know, that's...
Well, why would you want to waste it on if no one's there to see it?
I guess what I can take from that is that animals at the zoo are really bored, and they're a bit of, exhibitionists.
Mm-hmm. Well, I mean, what else you got to do?
Can I tell you about the monkey sex thing that we just witnessed?
You're gonna.
Yeah. Yeah, you're getting it regardless. That was oral sex. That was monkeys doing oral sex. That was not sex instinctively for procreation. That was sex to just give pleasure. And I didn't think that animals were into that. I thought animals were just about, I feel like I need to make a baby. Let's try. Let's increase the bloodline. Let's make sure that I got the hottest girl and I'm the biggest, baddest one. And let's make another big, bad baby. That's what I thought it was all about.
No, I've looked a lot into this. And so there's monkeys and some ape families. And it really depends from troop to troop on how much sexual proclivity they allow. And some females will sleep with males just to calm them down. Like if there's some males that are kind of getting upset and sort of bickering each other, and we're not talking about like an alpha trying to, get his mate for the breeding season, but just like normal daily squabbles. Sometimes some girls will intervene. They'll give it up just to calm everyone down, and people can go back in peace, and they can go back and, I don't know, climb trees and eat fruit or whatever they do.
Oh man. I mean,
yeah. So sometimes it's been a monkey of the same species, but from a different pack will come try and join them, and he'll be real nervous and sort of on the outside, and they won't let him in. And sort of his entree into the group, at least as a non-familiar part of the pack, will be when a chick sleeps with him. A female monkey goes out and gives him a little action, and it's not to procreate; it's just kind of let him know, hey, this is your initiation. You're in the crew now.
One more time.
Damn it, I don't want to see this. I'm not.
Look at the kids.
Ugh. Great. Why, Pugs? Why?
Because I've never seen anything like this before. And neither of you, I'm guessing.
No, I haven't seen gorilla oral.
There we go, and it ends. I think we should leave the song going, though.
That's a nice vibe.
It really does. I saw a gorilla die at the zoo once. That was my most memorable zoo experience.
That sucks. How'd that happen?
Okay, glad you asked. So I was in the primate house.
You were going to tell me anyway.
Yeah, I was going to tell you anyway. It's a story. This is what we do here with story time. So I was in the primate house, and we saw, it turned out to be an old gorilla. And he was up in his tree inside. This wasn't outside. This wasn't in one of those big outdoor habitat things. This was on the opposite side of the big outdoor habitat thing, where the sickly, sad animals tend to stay.
Oh,
the ones
animals.
So we're in the gorilla house, and we're looking at this gorilla, and he's just sitting in the tree, and we're all like, "Well, he doesn't seem happy. He doesn't seem that's the saddest gorilla we ever saw." And just then, he's probably about 10 feet up in the air in a tree in this big enclosure. And just then, he falls flat out of the tree and just smack right on the cement floor of the cave. And we were all like, what? What the hell happened? And then within seconds, there was, please exit the primate house. Please, in an orderly fashion, exit the primate. and zookeepers were running in there. We got to see zookeepers handling them. Because of course, when something like that happens, first thing I'm doing is not leaving. I'm seeing how this plays out. I want to see what's going on. So eventually we were ushered out of there and we told the story. We were like, oh man, we saw a gorilla follow the tree. And you get home that night, and 10 o'clock news comes on. A sad incident at the Lincoln Park Zoo today when Magilla, the 60-year-old gorilla, fell to his death in front of shocked onlookers. I'm like, I'm one of the shocked onlookers. My first mention on television.
Yeah. Her name was Magilla?
No,
make that up.
I don't remember what her name was, but I just
going to be impressed for a second.
Yeah. Okay, let's see what else is happening here. Trending wise, that's what we do. We do the trending topics. Oh, by the way, you may see it's a Friday. We do this every Friday. We try not to do it on the air, but you know what? Honestly, if you want to support the show through tips or any kind of support that you can come up with, you can find us at any of those links below. It is Pugs Moran on Venmo and PayPal. And then if you use the Cash App, you can send us whatever, tips, anything. Pugs Cast on Cash App. So we've got you a Venmo, we've got a PayPal, we've got a Pugscast. And I don't really want to dedicate much time to this on the air. If you follow us on social media, those seem to be the most diehard people who are listening every day. If you haven't been able to not subscribe, but if you haven't been able to give a little something, that's fine. It is not required. It is needed. It is desperately needed. So any of you rich people out there who are enjoying this, I expect you to help out. But the rank and file folks, it's not expected.
You weren't going to give anything anyway.
Yeah, exactly. And look, this is, like I said, we do this for the love of the game. But this is actually turning into a bit of a difficult grind. And all we need to raise, honestly, all we need to raise is $150 a week. If we raise $150 a week, that's $600 a month. And that's honestly all we need. We've broken that down. That is for the 20 hours that we do every day, every week here, 20 hours of live streaming content. That is $7.50 an hour. So, if you can help out, great.
It's minimum wage. Yeah, that's not bad.
It's less than minimum wage, right? Is it minimum wage like $11 or something now? I thought it was over the 10. Whatever it is.
We're not in Seattle.
Whatever it is, anything you can do to help is greatly appreciated. But if you can't monetarily help, the other way that you can, pitch in and help keep this show going is promote it. Share the links. If you subscribe and you're on Facebook and you see the link to the show, share it to your friends, man. If you can't give 5, 10, 15, 20 bucks, $100, whatever it is that you can't give, that's fine, man. I get that. But, share it then, at least.
Sharing is free.
Sharing
Don't
it
be
is
a bum.
free. And, it's the least you can do. And when I say it's the least you can do, it is literally the least you can do. All you need to do is just click something to forward it. So there, we've done that. But again, we have not once reached our $150 a week goal. So here we are in the third week of September, and I think we've raised about $120 or something like that. And I thank you to the people who have, but we don't push it much because we want to be able to do this, and we don't want to do this as like, oh, we're only doing it for the money. But at some point, I hesitate to. At some point, I'm gonna have to get a job. At some point, I'm gonna have to do something that is actually gonna bring in at least the $600 a month that we have. And by the way, that is a Spartan existence. That is not me going out to bars. That is not me. That is basically just me keeping the lights on and staying above float. So, if there's any way possible that you can help out monetarily, that would be wonderful. And you can help at any of the links there. If there's any way possible that you can help out in another way, please share the show. Please tell your friends about the show. Please tell people about what it is that you're liking. And you know what? Honestly, if that doesn't happen, then I'm going to get sad. And I'm going to start to think that maybe this isn't worth doing it. And I'm just here embarrassing myself. So again, you can help support our efforts with what we're calling tips by any of the places below. Pugs Moran on Venmo, Pugs Moran on PayPal, or Pugscast on Cash App. And that's all we're going to say about it today. There you go. All right. Moving on now. Let's see what else is happening here in the trending topics. Oh, did you see this one? This one, Again, try not to do political stuff, but this guy just entertains me to no end. So I don't mean please, let's not take this politically, but Rudy Giuliani has been banned from Fox News.
What do you do now?
Everything he's done for the last 3 years. I mean, that's really it. That's the reason that they have banned him. Fox News has basically said, yeah, enough of him coming on with the former, look, he was America's mayor. He was somebody that wielded a whole lot of respect.
But all you got to do is piss off one or two executives at Fox News, and you can get banned.
Rudy Giuliani really hurt after learning he's banned from Fox News. Inviting Rudy Giuliani on the air to spew his increasingly erratic stream of consciousness comes with the very real risk of falling foul of a $1 billion lawsuit. And it seems Fox News has calculated that it's not worth it. Okay, so I guess that's because he's saying a lot of things that, again, not to be political, but Fox News's lawyers and executives feel in their heart of hearts cannot be substantiated and therefore put them in legal jeopardy as far as lawsuits that might be coming down the pack. So whatever. So now you'll see him probably on all the other ones, the new ones that pop up, the streaming services or whatever. But, I think about, I just think about how entertaining he has been. Confusing Four Seasons Hotel with the Four Seasons landscaping place, and yet still moving forward with a press conference in the parking lot of a Four Seasons.
Yeah, no, this is the plan. I meant to do this. I like that one.
Right? Yeah. Well, a refusal to admit.
What did you think we meant? Oh, you thought we meant the hotel. Well, don't you look stupid? Yeah.
No, we're at a landscaping place. Then there is the apparently saving money on the hair dye treatments, and it's just running down his cheek like a waterfall while he's on camera.
Poor guy.
That's
so,
embarrassing.
Grecian formula or whatever that is.
Then you got the Borat thing, the Borat movie thing where he
that sucks.
He's funny. He's funny. Rudy is a funny guy, and he looks shockingly a lot like Nosferatu, if you ask me. Yeah,
I have no idea who that is.
Nosferatu, the original Dracula. The original vampire, the bald guy with the teeth, and it's always black and white, and he's coming down the steps like, you really don't know.
Okay. No, I didn't know Nosferatu is.
You're a well-read guy. I would think that the Nosferatu reference would have landed squarely for you. But...
All right. Well, in the original Dracula, like Vlad the Impaler from Transylvania, or it was Blakia then. Yeah.
Yeah, based on that. Yeah, Stoker based that on the tales from Transylvania of a very real guy.
Because I know about that dude. What, he used to put people on giant 8-foot tall pikes, and he would insert it in their butt and make it come out their mouth, and they could actually live like that for about sometimes 8 to 12 hours. Yeah. And you do that to about 10,000 invading Muslims from Turkey. Yeah. And the next time that army walks through there and they see just a forest of their countrymen, impaled through the behind and coming out their mouth, and some of them are still shaking and twitching, and they just turned right back around and went home. And he probably saved Europe from conquest by the Ottomans.
And I got to be honest with you. When I think back about the behaviors of the monarchs and royalty and land barons and all that back in the Middle Ages, that seems very par for the course. I don't know why this guy sort of stood out, because it didn't seem like back then there was all kinds of awful shit going on. I mean, it doesn't really seem to me like that would be.
Yeah. Well, before that, look, would you rather do what happened to Jesus, be hung on a cross where they just nail you there and leave you to die slow, or if they impaled you from behind the mouth? And they know how to miss all the vital organs, so you live for a few hours like that. That's your last few hours.
Do you know what the worst one was? Okay, so I don't know. That's a push. I don't know which one I'd rather have. I think I'd rather be impaled up the butt and through the mouth, because it seems like I'd die sooner than, being nailed to a cross where you could probably live for days and suffer everything from, heat stroke to starvation, dehydration. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And I mean, that would be the metric I would use. Which one will kill me first? Both of them are really awful. But which one is going to kill me first? Do you know what the absolute worst one is? Do you know what a blood eagle is?
Oh, I learned that from the TV show Vikings. And then I found out it was the real thing when I Wikipedia'd it.
Oh boy. The Vikings were nasty. So a blood eagle is when a Viking would catch you and you were a particularly bad guy that he was angry at. They would put you up on a stocks. So you'd be up like this, right? There'd be a thing holding your chest and there'd be a thing on your arms. And they go behind you and they flay down your back of your spine. And then they reach in and pull out your rib cages, right? So that your rib just ripping through everything so that it looks like you have eagle wings. So your rib cages so they go down your spine and then they pull out your rib cages like this, and you're just left there to die. People were always bad. Humans have always been bad.
So the most successful blood eagles were when they could get the rib cage fully open without killing the guy and pull his lungs up and put them on top of his shoulders. And there were a few instances where the guys were still breathing and it was still inflating and deflating, slowly stopping.
That is the worst.
Yeah.
Do you know what keel hauling is? Keel hauling? Keel haul him. You used to hear that with pirates a lot.
And that when you like tie them to the front of the boat?
Yeah. Okay. So a keel haul is when you stand on the bow of the boat, the front of the boat, right? So you're right at the very, where Leo and I'm king of the world, that whole thing. Okay. Except they tie one rope around your right leg that drags off the right side of the boat. And then they tie your left leg with a rope that ties, on the other side of the boat. And then they tie another rope around your neck, and that comes off the front of the boat. Okay. So now you see it. So you got your neck off the front of the boat, legs on the sides of the boat. The one that goes around your neck and goes down the front of the boat is on a pulley system that runs underneath the boat. Okay. And then you got a whole bunch of pirates that are towing the rope. And when they say keel haul, they pull the rope and you go off the front of the boat, split in half underneath. And they used to put like sharp things under the boat so that when they would do this, you would drown and you would slowly be ripped in half. And the goal was when they pulled you up from the other side that there were two halves of you.
That's awful. See, this is why when we get that time machine, this is why when we get the time machine, I'm not going back to anything before 2017. That's my absolute cutoff.
Fun Russian history story because I'm a great fan of Russian history.
Is Russian history trending today?
No. But Peter the Great, who was the funnest of all the czars.
Okay.
Peter the Great did a whole bunch of crazy things. Like, for instance, one day Peter the Great became obsessed. He got a toothache and he became obsessed with the idea of medieval dentistry. So Peter the Great just declared himself a dentist without any training or anything, and then ordered everybody in his circle to only see him when they had teeth problems. And Peter the Great would just basically pull people's teeth out, just like real brutally, just horribly.
That is a fun guy.
So you never wanted to tell Peter the Great you had a toothache. Peter the Great was also a giant. He was very tall for his era. He was like 6'7" or something like that. And he loved the Gulliver's Travel stories. So he had his people scour the countryside for little people, midgets, dwarves, whatever. And he would stage huge battles where he was Gulliver.
And they were the Lilliputians?
Yes. Yeah. And the midgets would all fight him, and he would just slaughter midgets in his backyard when he was bored, just simply because, he liked the Gulliver.
Oh, no, you can't actually kill him.
Oh, he killed him. Yeah, he actually killed him.
That's awful.
Yeah, in his mind, they were only half the crime. What else did he do?
Bad deal for the midgets.
He flooded the big, they had like big stadiums, I guess, like Roman influence where they would have, the Russian version of games. And he would flood them out with water, and then he would hold naval battles because he fancied himself a naval admiral as well with little boats and midgets. He would put midgets in little boats and force them to fight with real weaponry. So it was a real
like little tiny cannons that they're firing at each other in their mini boats.
Yeah. So what brings us back? Why did I reference Peter the Great? Because when Peter the Great decided, he was also a very learned man. He loved reading and he loved traveling, and he was very popular among the aristocracy of Europe at the time. And they all would invite him to come and see the great inventions and the great, progressive ideas of France and Italy and, all those places. England. And on one trip to England, he was with the English Navy, and keel hauling was explained to Peter the Great. And guess what Peter the Great wanted? He wanted to be keel hauled. He said, "Keel haul me. I think I could survive." And the
No
whole,
way.
no, you can't. No, 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 we're not going to do it. And it turned into a big thing. He wasn't keel hauled, but Peter the Great apparently really thought he could survive it. He thought that there would
Because
be
he's
no
6'7", that's not something I'd even want to attempt. Because if you're wrong, you're kind of dead, and it's gonna hurt.
All right. Also trending today. Here's something that we got. Do we have this? Yeah, there it is. Okay, I do apologize. Doctor Who is trending. Are you a Doctor Who guy?
No, I'm not a Whovian.
Man, me neither. I don't get that. You got your Star Trek fanatics, you got your Star Wars fanatics, and you got your Doctor Who fanatics. And in that pecking order, the Doctor Who people, in my opinion, are at the bottom of that.
I can't say anything because I've been told by all the Doctor Who lovers that you need to see it. Have you seen it? No, I haven't seen it. Well, then you can't really say anything, can you? No, I can't really say anything. So I can't. But I do recognize the pecking order when you go to Comic-Cons.
Yeah.
They are one of the subgroups within the Comic-Cons. They're, of course, like you said, Star Trek and Star Wars, but then there's like the segment that's actually there for the comic books, which only 1 out of every 20 booths at a Comic-Con actually has comics. It might even be less than that. But then there's the people that are there for like the Walking Dead guy that's signing autographs at the back, or there's different genres, and the Whovians are one of those genres that show up.
Yeah, do you know what I recently learned? I was reading an article about the history of Comic-Con, and there is a big controversy going on now at Comic-Con because the Marvel universe has taken over Comic-Con. Like every year there's a new Marvel movie. So every year whoever Disney or whoever does the Marvel films, I'm not sure. Every year they have taken over Comic-Con, and the hardcore Comic-Con people who are the Whovians, the Trekkies, and the Star Wars nerds, they really resent that everything seems to be based around, the next panel discussion with the Avengers.
Yeah, I think they have to shut up though, because the Marvel people, all of them actually came from comic book series. Star Wars didn't come from a comic book series. Neither did Star Trek. Neither did the Whovians or the people that are just running around in that steampunk looking gear. Neither are the people that are there for anime, because that's a whole another subgroup. Then there's the people that are there. It's like, what do you think this is a dominatrix gathering? Are you guys swingers or something? A lot of leather involved in that corner. That didn't start as a comic book. The video games, there's a lot of gamer stuff. That's another subgenre of Comic-Cons. None of that started with the comic book. We should all be very happy that Marvel is so successful, because it's the only thing that's still tangentially tied to comic books at the comic convention.
Well, we should, but they're not. And their argument is, and I kind of understand it, those people, let's just call them nerds, those nerds
Sure.
felt that they were special for one weekend a year. They felt for one weekend a year, the news media came out and made them feel special, and they would be walking around in their crazy Doctor Who outfits, or dressed like Spock or any number of Star Wars characters, and it made them feel special. And they resent the Marvel presence taking over their special weekend because, and this is actually true, they feel that there is nothing under the radar special or obscure about the Avengers. When your grandma knows who the Avengers are, the guy that's walking around dressed like some third-rate Star Wars character suddenly is like, well, no, you don't know who I'm special. This is special because nobody knows who this is. Everybody knows who Captain America is. They feel that it's an over-commercialization of Comic-Con, which is ridiculous because Comic-Con has been overly commercialized for about 20 years, right?
Well, the point of a Comic-Con is to be commercial.
Yeah.
But they might just need to switch the name to GeekCon, because that's really what the culture is, geeks. It's geeks now. And some of them are based in comic books, and that whole scene has definite comic book related roots. But now that new media has taken over, comics were a great option in 1940 when you didn't have not even TV, much less the internet, much less, DVDs or streaming or Hulu or all these cartoons. And, it's GeekCon.
Yeah. It was special because these geeks feel completely irrelevant for 363 days a year And then for a Friday and Saturday, they can go down to the convention center where everybody is paying attention to them.
And no one's calling them geeks because everyone there's a geek.
Right, exactly.
And then cool people show up, or the jocks, and
that's the problem.
Show up.
Like jocks and stuff and hot girls and all that are showing up for, Marvel panels, and they're not dressing up like Wonder Woman, or no, I guess that wouldn't be Wonder Woman, that's DC. But you know what I'm saying? They're like, they feel all of a sudden they're like, it's the lunchroom again, where, they're not allowed to sit at the cool kids table. So there have been heckling events where like a guy dressed in a Wookiee suit will stand up and scream at Chris Evans for, or whoever. Yeah. Although isn't Chris Evans, oh God, I don't know the Chris's. The only one I know is Chris Pratt because of Parks and Recreation. But and Chris Hemsworth, although I don't know who he is because there's
Thor,
a whole.
right?
What's that?
The Hemsworth Chris is Thor, isn't he?
Is that Chris Hemsworth? There's
so.
a bunch of Hemsworths, so I classify the Hemsworth although in the Venn diagram, Chris Hemsworth would overlap with the Hemsworth crowd and the Chris crowd. I'm talking about Chris Evans and Chris
Pine.
Chris Pine. Yeah.
Captain Kirk from the new Star Trek.
Yeah. Okay. So Chris Pine is Captain Kirk, and he's also in the Wonder Woman movies, right? He's like Wonder Woman's boyfriend.
I haven't seen Wonder Woman.
Yeah. Oh, it's pretty good. The first Wonder Woman is pretty badass. The new one, 1984, is terrible. It's
really?
So dumb. Oh, it's so dumb.
Okay.
The first Wonder Woman is really cool, I thought. Yeah, I thought it was, come on.
I'll get to it. I got girls.
Yeah, they'll watch them at some point. But yeah, but Chris Pine, he overlaps, I guess, because he does the DC thing with the Wonder Woman, and he's also a Star Trek thing now because he's the new Kirk. And Chris Evans, I guess. I guess this is how I figure it out. Okay, so Chris Evans is Captain America. I feel like I've finally been able to break it down. I've never really thought about it, but when I see one of them, I go, "Is that Evans or Pine?" I don't know. I'm not. Maybe if I was sexually attracted to them because they're both attractive men, maybe then I'd be able to tell them apart. But to me, they're just both good-looking guys named Chris.
Because you can tell all the Jessicas apart.
Oh yeah, I can. Beale, Elba. Yeah, I got all the Jessicas down. That's no Simpson. Yeah, definitely. The Jessicas are not a problem.
No overlap there.
Okay, so why is Doctor Who trending? Doctor Who is trending because apparently some dude who used to play a beloved character on Doctor Who is coming back. And, when I say I don't watch Doctor Who, it's not like I never watched Doctor Who. When I was a douchebag teenager and everybody in the world was saying, you've got to watch on PBS on Sunday nights, Doctor Who. I tried to watch for a couple of episodes, was distracted by what everybody else says is the best part, which is the wildly low production values. I mean,
oh no,
that's sort of
not good at all.
That's what the show is known for. It's known for like having, robots that are really just guys wrapped in tinfoil and,
they get the vacuum tubes on their arm.
Yeah, really bad low production value. But this did remind me of one of the most memorable experiences I ever had watching television. And this occurred on local Chicago television. And this is one of the great mysteries in the history of Chicago media. And I'd like to share it with you right now. This happened during the middle of a Doctor Who broadcast, right in the time when I was watching Doctor Who. So I actually saw this live. Are you ready? Watch this. This happened on live TV in the Chicago market in 1987 during a Sunday night broadcast of Doctor Who. All right, so here we go.
You should talk often with the old ones of your tribe. That is the only way to learn.
I'll get you a hot drink, miss.
Drink some dry clothing.
Oh, I just made a giant masterpiece for all the greatest world newspaper nerds. My brother is wearing the other one. But it's dirty. What you got put my time?
Okay. I was watching. And back to programming.
As far as I can tell, a massive electric shock. He died instantly.
Oh yeah, Doctor Who.
Yeah, there you go. Okay, so that is a legendary moment in Chicago media history.
And you were watching when that happened.
I was watching when that was right when I was trying to figure out why so many people were talking about Doctor Who. It was on at 11 o'clock on Sunday evenings on WTTW in Chicago. And on this particular Sunday evening night, I remember, I want to say it was in November, because I don't know why I think that, but I think that it was like cold out or something. May have even been for some reason the Sunday after Thanksgiving, because there's some reason why I think of November when I remember that in my mind. Somebody in the early day, I don't know, somebody was able to hack into the live broadcast from a remote studio and then, do some S&M stuff with getting his ass whipped on screen, made a couple of references to Chicago broadcaster Chuck Swirsky, did a bit of a Pepsi play because he was dressed as Max Headroom. Do you remember Max Headroom?
I do remember Max Headroom. Now, was this first, and that's what Max Headroom came from, or were they this a parody of the existing?
No, yeah, this was in the prime Max Headroom moment of the time.
Okay.
The Max Headroom Pepsi commercials were airing, and so this guy went out and got a Max Headroom mask.
Oh, okay.
They never caught that guy. I mean, for days in the city, well, maybe even an entire week, it was a big story in the news, and it was. People, if they could do this, they could hack into anything. We're at the mercy of these video pirates who have figured out a way to hack into these broadcast signals that they could do whatever they want. They could spread propaganda. It became that whole thing. Talk radio was really big on it for, a week or so. But I remember sitting at home watching it going, the hell was that? What the was that? Is that why people like Doctor Who? That shit's crazy. This show is out of its mind. So that was that's not why Doctor Who is trending, but that's why I talk about Doctor Who. That was a very, very interesting moment.
That was an interesting moment. Can we still? Did they put some sort of system in place for that to stop happening? Because I
don't know. It happened again. The same guy did it again on a WGN news broadcast. I don't know if that came later and maybe it was a little less memorable, probably because I didn't see that one live. But I do know that the
less
dude
memorable for you.
Yeah. But I do know that was the first one, and that was a big deal. And then the guy did it one more time, and they never caught him. And in Chicago media circles, it's a big mystery. Everybody has theories. There are entire Reddit. If you go to Reddit and you put WTTW Doctor Who hack, you will find just pages and pages of sleuths who are saying, I know who did it. It was this kid who lived down the block. And, we know that he was a certain age because he was humming the theme to Clutch Cargo, which means if you know what Clutch Cargo is, that means you were probably born in the 1950s. So this wasn't a kid. This was like a grown man in 1987, a guy in his 20s, maybe early 30s. So that was a tell. There you go. That's why Doctor Who is trending.
All right, I have a topic I want to address.
Yeah, go ahead.
All right, and don't worry, it's not going to be the angle that you're thinking of.
No worries.
But in the pictures of the Border Patrol guys that were on horseback and they were accused of whipping Haitian immigrants, which is ridiculous because it's not like they brought their whip. It's not a thing. But
we saw pictures. I saw live video of it. What do you mean it's not a thing?
They weren't whipping them. It wasn't a whip. They had extremely long reins and they were just flopping around every time they turned.
Oh, well, I'll have to take another look at it. But yeah, okay.
Yeah, no, go ahead. But I don't have a problem. Here's my problem with it. It's the horses themselves. because I don't understand, why are we still using horses? What year is this? Why are they doing that? Why don't they have a four-wheeler or a truck or an all-terrain vehicle or an MRAP, or, they got all kinds of vehicles from small to large. And I know what you're going to say. It's the terrain. It's the terrain, right? That's the
Not
only.
what I'm going to say.
Okay,
But continue.
I'm
going to say I find it interesting that you don't have a problem with some sort of systematic and institutional display of horrific human behavior, but you have a problem with the means by which they did it.
Look, even in the one,
you're thinking they need ATVs.
No, even in the 1 in 10,000 chance they actually did whip them. They didn't whip them, though. I mean, it's an absurd accusation, but you can't say it's systemic and institutional. It's not like in the manual for the Border Patrol, they're like, if you see some Haitians, get out your whip.
Well, I can say it's institutional because allegedly it was ordered by the government, by the governor of Texas, which is an institution. And I say systematic because it seemed pretty well rehearsed and practiced.
I know,
at least the way I saw it.
You think Governor Abbott's, someone's like, hey, we should start whipping the guys at the border. And he goes, yeah, no, that's our policy now. Let's start whipping them.
No,
look, you're trying.
Go ahead.
Well, their job is to apprehend and detain illegal immigrants. So if you're trying to get someone to stop, you wouldn't say, well, maybe I should try whipping him. No one trained him to do that either. And no one's, getting all dressed up to get on their horses to go ride around in Big Bend. And Rusty says to Cody, hey, man, don't forget your whip. They don't have a whip. You don't carry a whip around when you're riding your horse. I've ridden horses. Whips, almost no one uses whips even anywhere in the agricultural or ranching industry ever these days anyway. And the instances where you used to use a whip, like to get cattle to go through the chute, they now have these little electric cattle prods where it's just like a little pole with a little zap.
So you would prefer cattle prods? Is that what you think would have been more effective?
No. In fact, that would be just as counterproductive, probably more counterproductive than whips, because you're trying to detain them. You don't shock them. You don't make them run fast and run away. You want to, I don't know, give them some water or something, put them in handcuffs, but you don't whip them. Anyway, that's not the point. The point is the horse.
Okay, you don't like the use of horses because you think that, and I'll tell you why they used horses. I'll tell you why they were wearing cowboy hats and why they were using horses. Because
it's fun. They're playing cowboy.
It was exactly, they're playing cowboy because the governor of Texas, and I don't want to get political, these are a statement of facts. The governor of Texas is being challenged on the right by Don Huffines, and the governor of Texas needs to show that he's more Texan and more crazy than Don Huffines is. So he's got a bunch of guys out there on horses with whips, or you say not whips, but whatever, in cowboy hats, and that is supposed to represent Governor Abbott's view of what a Texan does.
There's nothing in Texas history where the Texas Rangers ran around whipping people. No, that's never been.
I don't know. I imagine if you were to look into it, we might find some equally or even worse behavior.
They have to apprehend and detain people. That's why they give them water. So the illegal immigrants walk up to them harmlessly and they're like, okay, we'll be in your custody. At least we have some water. You don't whip them. That makes them run away. It's totally counterproductive to apprehending people. But look, it's also just impractical, because you can say, well, it's to go through the terrain. Well, they're also wildly slower than a truck or a four-wheeler or any kind of all-terrain vehicle. So it's not a superior mode of transportation. And rocky cliffs or whatever you're trying to get up to, or stuff with underbrush that's real hard to drive through, that's still a maybe, because then you're stuck with, what if the guy that's on the horseback actually gets that Haitian and detains him? How do you get him to go back to the precinct or the detention center, the kids in cages or whatever? What do you do? Do you let him ride on the horse behind you? He just straddles it, sits behind you on the saddle.
Apparently you wrap him with your whip and you drag him. That seems,
right.
That seems to be what they were thinking. Or lasso him and hog tie him like a rodeo guy.
Yeah, but you can't transport multiple people. If you had him behind you, he could headbutt you, scream at you, spit on you, bite your ear off like Mike Tyson. So yeah, that's a horrible idea. And then you can't do the thing where you tie a rope to his handcuffs and have him walk behind you or next to you on the horse, because then it looks like the first episode of Roots. So, and plus you can only go the speed of his slow walk back to the stable. So it's completely inefficient, completely unpractical, completely unworked. It's just dudes having fun.
Having fun at the expense of people fleeing tyranny. Okay, that's fine. We'll move on.
Look, what if you went to the IRS while you're getting audited and the little adjuster there across the table whips out an abacus? You know, he whips out some technology from
I see
centuries
what you're
old.
saying. It seems,
Right, 'cause
but
that's
I
not how
explained why. It was a photo op. It was for Governor Abbott to be able to show, look how Texas I am.
Yeah, and
Horses, hats, and whips. You know,
it's silly. It's
yeah,
silly. It's
it
like
was.
going to the VA to get some treatment and they give some Vietnam vet a jar of leeches.
And it also helps Abbott's cause when it just ignited the left liberals who were like, oh my God, you know, it was horrible. That helps. You know, this is the problem with the left. They don't understand that when they have their little outrage moments, that all that does is embolden the people who are doing it in the first place, because they're not catering to a crowd that's going to be affected by lefty liberal outrage. They're catering to a crowd that feeds off that. They're catering to a crowd that loves it when the left gets outraged because it gives them something to be angry about. So I mean, look, that's a real issue going forward here as we bear down on a Texas election. The right vote, certainly the MAGA vote here in Texas is split because Don Huffines is not to be played with. Don Huffines, the card dealer, is going far to Abbott's flank. And this is also why Abbott ordered a recount of the Texas vote in the election. Did you see this?
No, I did not see that.
Yeah, Trump won Texas by 600,000 votes, but Abbott
What the hell
doesn't
you
want
want
to
a recount for?
because he wants to play to that base.
Did we lose like a railroad commissioner or something? And so
I don't know. It's just, this is all just performative. That's all it is. Politicians are nothing but performers these days.
well, can they get rid of horses? Because this isn't like 1860 anymore. That it's embarrassing, is what it is.
I never see horses. Do you know that in downtown Chicago, the police are on horseback? They have the
Dude,
mounted police.
Yeah, they got
I've never
horses down
seen
here
that in
for
Dallas.
crowd control, and it's the same thing. This is little boys. This is like 14-year-old boys who, I don't know if they just watched The Rifleman or Bonanza or something growing up, but they're just having fun because, you know, what's the option? They said, hey, Officer Spazzoli, you want to go out in a golf cart today, or would you like to go out on a stallion? Give me the stallion. Hey, it's not at my expense. And so now they got to keep these things at a stable. They have them here in New Orleans, and they whip them out all the time at Mardi Gras or when there's big events.
Yeah, and that's what they say. They say they're the most effective for crowd control.
For crowd control. Shut up. Shut up. No, they're not. Get out of here.
I don't know. I would be more. I mean, they do that. I mean, that's a tradition in Chicago. The Chicago Mounted Police are a very big thing, and when you see a horse, you don't go near the horse. Like the horse, just that's a big, powerful thing, and if the cops with batons and shields, linked arms, moving a crowd back is one thing. You might think we could play Red Rover here. I could break through this little arm locked shield and baton phalanx. But not a horse. A big, giant, muscular horse moving around like that. I want to stay away from that. That thing's going to knock me on my ass and possibly trample me. At least I know that there's a chance that the cop's going to go, all right, I can't kill this guy. We're just going to hold him down on the ground. That's not what the horse thinks. The horse is just going to stomp you.
But even in the face of this one little special exception, even if it's right, which I think they could easily find some alternatives, but even if you are right, do we still have to buy these expensive horses and breed them and have some stables and feed them and train them and have officers doing training on them instead of actually patrolling or filling out reports or whatever they're supposed to do the other 364 days a year for this one little niche exception to where they could be useful? I don't think so. I'm very skeptical of the fact that we need horses. It's like when these middle-sized towns have like the bomb squad or the bomb squad robot. Yeah. So like if someone leaves their lunch unattended on a sidewalk, the cops get to come out here and they get to play with their stupid robot. It's like when you're 11 and you get that remote control thing for Christmas. That's what these guys are. They're just sort of like memory association this with their Christmas time. And they're like, oh, we get to check on this lunchbox with our robot. And now instead of because it makes them also feel better, instead of them being some cop that's harassing speeders for revenue or ruining some young guy's life over a bag of weed. Now they're fighting terrorists. They're disabling bombs. They're saving the lives of innocent citizens and, you know, preserving the peace and tranquility of Bug Tussle County.
Have I ever told you about my hometown of Orland Park, Illinois?
Not really.
In the weirdness that surrounds my hometown.
That's not where you're from. That's where you live now. Is that what you're saying?
No. Orland Park is a suburb right on the outskirts of the south side of Chicago. When we moved from 81st to Tallman, we moved to the nearest suburb. That was, the nearest, my mom wanted me to get a good suburban public school education and all that stuff. So we moved to Orland Park. But my hometown, over the years, I have discovered that my hometown is the real Twin Peaks. There is some stuff going on in my hometown over the years. And when you look at it on a map and you put the pieces together, you're like, oh, yeah, there is something weird going on here. And it's a sleepy little suburb, middle class, upper middle class. It's considered one of the nicer suburbs. If you were looking at all the suburbs in the Chicago area, you'd go, oh, that's a nice one. Oh, well, you're a snob now because you moved out to Orland Park. It's not Highland Park, where I'm squatting now, but it's nice. It's Frisco. Basically, if you're familiar with the Texas,
nice enough. So they have a lot of weird murders or something over there.
Not a one, not a one. However, when you go by the police department, they have 2 tanks, 2 military tanks, operational, painted like the Orland Park police cars. So they're not camouflaged like military. They say Orland Park police on 2 tanks. They have 2 massive 18-wheelers painted like a big Orland Park police car, right?
So stupid. Yeah.
One says Mobile Command and Disaster Operations Center, and the other one says something else equally creepy. Like what are they anticipating in my hometown? And again, there's about
you're going to be storming the beaches of Michigan next week, right?
Yeah. Well, what are they preparing for in my hometown is basically my thing. And then for 25 years, the dude just retired. The guy who was the chief of police of the Orland Park Police Department just happened to be former FBI and Secret Service agent Tim McCarthy, who took a bullet for Reagan. Remember the Secret Service agent who got shot?
All right, yeah.
When he retired from or because he was shot or whatever, and when he rehabbed, he was immediately put in place as in charge of this sleepy little suburb on the south side of Chicago, which he was from. He grew up there and all that stuff. So it's not that weird when you put it there. But he seems like somebody who would have, crazy, overly connected for that position. And certainly interesting that he stayed there for as long as he did, completely unchecked, building up this, what can only be described as an armada of police equipment that he acquired and built up over the years.
But
now, go ahead.
It's the same thing, though. Orland Park does not need a tank.
No.
They don't need that.
Well, let me finish. Maybe after I finish the story, you'll start to see why I call it Twin Peaks.
Okay.
So you wonder about this sleepy little town with no murders and, upwardly mobile, college-educated people with a nice hustle-bustling train station that delivers the citizenry to downtown Chicago for their jobs. It's very, it's like the all-American suburb. So why does it have all of this stuff? Well, when you look at it, when you look at Orland Park on the map, you're like, okay, those seems like things that might need to be defended. To the north of Orland Park, on the outskirts of Orland Park, is the Argonne National Laboratory, famous for the Manhattan experiment, where they did all kinds of nuclear stuff, and they still doing all kinds of nuclear stuff. It's a very important. We all hear about Los Alamos, right? That's like a big one. The Argonne is right up there with Los Alamos, and it is this, and it got hundreds of thousands of acres of woods with this secret U.S. Defense Department laboratory right in the middle of it, where all kinds of weird stuff has been reported to have happened over the years. Okay, so that's to the north. Just to the south of the city, and actually in the city proper, is the Victor J. Andrew Corporation, which essentially provided all the satellite and laser guidance systems and all of that stuff for the United States military, the Department of Defense. They were actually one of the companies that was sued when the Challenger exploded because they did all. So you've got a major defense contractor to the south, you've got a major national laboratory to the north, and then just to the west in what is now considered Homer Township, which is like unincorporated Orland, you used to have, and some say they still do, one of the largest Nike missile ranges in America. All of the nuclear defense of the city of Chicago was located in what are now suburbs. In fact, funny enough, there's like this suburb, this little neighborhood in there, $1 million homes, multi-million-dollar homes in this neighborhood. And it sits right atop where the Nike missile bases used to be, the underground. And the name of the subdivision is called Silo Ridge, and, and it's because it was built, because factually it was built above the silos that were under the ground. That, when during the Cold War, bombs were heading towards Chicago, these are the missiles that would go up to supposedly
shoot them down.
Chicago. Right. But because it's a multi-million-dollar neighborhood, they actually built, like in 1990, right? They built a dilapidated, falling down, old-timey looking, gigantic silo that looks like it's been there since the 1800s. And they just called the neighborhood Silo Ridge. And so people, that must be why it's called, new to the neighborhood.
Like
That
it's the
must be why
mascot.
it's like, no, that's not why it's called Silo Ridge. That's a deke. That's to make you think that you're totally safe. But honestly, your house is probably still on some computer back in Russia as a major target, because that's what they're coming for. They're coming for you with your indoor and outdoor swimming pool. So when you put all of those things, when you take a step back and look at the hometown, you're like, oh, okay. So they've actually do got a reason to have all of these crazy crowd control and emergency management stuff. It's not just, but you're right. There are other towns that have like crazy police budgets where they have.
Like I had a Waco affiliate for a while, and their local police force got an MRAP, and it was just left over from Fallujah. It was like Army surplus, and they were handing out Army surplus equipments to these police departments around the country, and they're not all housing nuclear silos that are protecting, the third largest population center in America. This is Waco. And if there is anything military that needs to go down, there's Fort Hood that's just down the street, literally the largest military installation in the world. So for the Waco Police Department to have an MRAP, it's just silly. It's almost embarrassing, and I know why the cops do it. Because if not, they would drive a Crown Victoria all day, every day for work. And it'd be fun to break it up every once in a while if you got to roll around in an armored personnel carrier once in a while, right? Wouldn't you do that?
Oh, yeah.
If like we were going to go to Duke's on Wednesday and they're like, hey, this time you want to take the van or the MRAP? Like, we are taking the MRAP. Damn it.
You want to take the hovercraft, or do you want to take the SUV, the Ford SUV?
Right.
We'll take the hovercraft.
So it's fun. Plus, it makes you feel a little more important rolling around in that big old thing. So I could run over an IED if I wanted to, and I'd still make it to dodgeball on time. So,
let me tell you something.
It's just fun. And plus they love showing them off at like parades or the Bug Tussle County Fair. They'll park it outside. Like you said, they had theirs parked outside the police station.
Mm-hmm.
It just looks cool and it's fun. And that's why it's not necessary. Total waste of taxpayer dollars for something that's fun.
I'll tell you something, and you just brought it up, parades. You would be a foolish terrorist if you ever tried to attack the Orland Park, Illinois 4th of July parade, because it's like a North Korean military parade. It is just insane when they roll all of this stuff out. It's like, does that stuff really work? Is there anything inside the back of that 18-wheeler, or is that all just for show? No.
Yeah, but if Red Dawn ever happens, that means we just go to Orland Park and stock up.
We're fine. Orland Park is going to be fine. I'm telling you. And that's the other interesting thing. It's like, and then you put all those pieces together and then you're like, we got a Fed running the show. We got Tim McCarthy, a Secret Service FBI dude, running the show for 25 years. And ain't nobody answering any questions about why we have all this stuff. The other thing that I forgot, there is a strip mall. For those of you who know Orland Park, 159th and LaGrange Road. Probably this was at about 157th and LaGrange Road. So just on the other side of where Best Buy used to be, where that big strip mall is.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, well, there might be. I see there's a couple people. I know that there's people in Chicago listening. For years, it was strip mall, restaurant.
What are the cross streets again?
about 157th and LaGrange Road. There was strip mall, Fat Sam's Bar right there on the corner, no longer there. Strip mall, restaurant, strip mall, restaurant, secret military base entrance, strip mall, restaurant. I shit you not, dude. There was, and it just blends right in. If you were driving down the street, you would never notice it until you went, what's that fence in that alley there with the keep out and all the cameras and the barbed wire? What is that? Well, that was the road that took you to the Nike missile silos. If you went all the way down that road, you would then get to a little building, a little cement building that would take you in there. So look, a lot of weird things happening in my hometown. And I'll also point out an abnormal amount of UFO sightings. Abnormal amount of UFO sightings.
That's not self-serving there?
No, well, it's part of the reason why I am so UFO centric in my life, because my hometown. You go to the UFO sighting maps, and you just look at it. It's a national map, and the red dots are bigger in the places where they happen the most. Sitting right on top of Orland Park. All you got to do, Tinley Park lights. Just Google the Tinley Park lights. That is probably next to the Phoenix lights. And the Stephenville one here in Texas was a big one too. But as far as mass sightings, the Tinley Park lights, which happened probably around 2005, 2007, is one that even the experts go, yeah, we can't debunk this because 20,000 people reported this. 20,000 people said they saw this. And what the Tinley Park's lights were, it was during Ozfest. See, we got one of these big Smirnoff Center type outdoor concert venues in the area. And Ozfest in 2007 or whatever was letting out. And you know how there's always a huge traffic jam with 20,000 people trying to leave an area all at once? Well, that's when a giant UFO appeared over the sky and everybody saw it. And unfortunately, we didn't have the amount of cell phones that we have today. Otherwise, there'd be even more footage. But there's a lot of footage of the Tinley Park lights. You can go on YouTube and you can find it. So the aliens are probably interested in, once again, the Argonne National Laboratory to the north, the Andrew Corporation defense contractor to the south, the Nike missile bases, and me and my mom in our condo. I'm sure that they're keeping tabs on me because I was abducted. Story for another day. Moving on. Also trending today, James, this is a fun one that we can get into. Trending today was porn bomber. Porn bomber. No, it's not trending now, but that's all right. Interested in what porn bomber is all about?
I don't know. We already saw the gorilla thing, so can't be worse.
Nah, please. I don't even have the music up. We're not going to go there again. I promise you.
No, please don't. Don't.
An elderly Michigan man is accused of trying to bomb phone stores to stop the spread of porn. The FBI announced the arrest of John. Apparently not, because, let me pull up Pornhub.
Nope, still there. Darn, I thought that might work.
Yeah, no, still works. Yeah, we still got Pornhub. So thankfully,
but he bombed the store. How does that work?
So the FBI announced the arrest of John Douglas Allen. And that just sounds like
you say all three names, you're setting him up. That's not fair.
Yeah. That's you know why they do that?
Because he's white?
No, they do this with everybody. Like everybody who does something really bad, they always insert the middle name so as not to cause confusion with a million other John Allens who are like, I'm not the porn bomber. So that's why it's like Lee Oswald didn't go around as Lee Harvey Oswald. That was just, So John Douglas Allen, 75, of Whitmore, Michigan.
Wait, so why do country singers do it?
Well, I don't know. You'd have to ask them. But I can tell you why the authorities do it when somebody has done something silly. According to an affidavit, a United States Postal Service box with black tape on it and wire coming out of it was placed outside an AT&T store in Sault Ste. Marie, Michigan on September the 15th, 2021. Later that evening, another USPS box with black tape on it and a wire coming out of it was placed outside a Verizon store in Sheboygan, Michigan. The FBI explosives unit said the devices were pipe bombs. Agents used video to identify that Allen was the person who allegedly left the packages outside of the stores. Letters were also placed inside polka dot envelopes and sealed in Ziploc bags and left at cell towers located in the Upper Peninsula of Michigan. The UP. Upers. The letter, which had a return address of Coalition for Moral Telecommunications, ordered that their software be updated to stop the spread of porn. The affidavit states his letters also demanded $5 million. So, he's doing a moral thing because he's so offended by the spread of porn, which is, help.
Might as well do some blackmail or extortion while he's at it, right?
Why not? Look, hey, if they say yes to this, they'll say yes to anything. Why not ask for the moon? That's what I always say. Ask for the moon, and
Well, it could be like a Hans Gruber thing where this whole moral thing is a front, and it really is all about the money. He made up the moral stuff after the fact. The thing he wanted was the $5 million.
Yeah, I guess.
Did any of the bombs go off?
No.
No, he just wanted the money.
Yeah, 70-year-old.
By the way, do pipe bombs ever go off? Like, has anything ever really been bombed by a pipe bomb in my lifetime?
Yeah, absolutely.
Or have like 99% of pipe bombs and all these stories done nothing?
Yeah, mostly they don't. Mostly they're stopped and whatever. But yeah, no, pipe bombs have gone. Like, the Weather Underground was famous for
before I was born.
Yeah, probably before I was born too, but I always think
right. I mean, in our lifetime, has anyone ever committed a crime with the pipe bomb? I mean, it has to be slim out there. I just hear about them, and it feels like 99% of the pipe bomb stories.
I'd go 80. I'd say 2 out of 10 maybe go off because there's a lot of after the fact. There are explosions that go off. Then people are, dude, the Unabomber. The Unabomber blew up a lot of people.
Okay, so there's one.
There's one. Well, there's more. I've only been thinking about it for 30 seconds.
Okay.
Come on, man.
We'll have to check into that.
Yeah. The letters, which had a return address of Coalition for Moral Telecommunications, ordered. I'm sure he'll be a guest on OAN or one of those things, the Coalition for.
See if we can get him on our show.
I'd talk to him. He ordered that the software be updated to stop the spread of porn. His letters also demanded $5 million and gave the company 6 months to meet his demands. Gave him 6 months, but placed the bombs now. How does that work?
He didn't think this through. He just wants the money.
He didn't. He's just some crazy old man in Michigan. And you want to know what his problem is? And I've said this is a problem with the boomer class for a long time now. Part of the reason that they are so bitter is because they missed out on internet porn. They were stuck with National Geographics and Sears lingerie pictures, and maybe on the off chance that they could get their hands on a Playboy. By the time that they were done with all of their sexual stuff, 50s like me, or 60s or whatever, that's when the world of pornography opened up to every man.
Yeah, high quality streaming video of any genre at all times, 24 hours a day, 7 days a week.
Easy as a click away. You don't have, there's no page folding, there's no hiding of magazines. All you got to do is erase your history and you are fine. They missed out on all of that. And I got to imagine in some way they're a little bit pissed off, a little bit angry.
Look, that's just barely touching the surface. That's for, those times when you're by yourself. What they also missed out on is when you have a phone and you're married. This isn't nearly as salacious as it sounds. Believe me, I mean this in a sweet way. Is married couples make their own porn, and so the times when you are by yourself and you do need you can look at your own porn. You can look at porn of your wife. What is you wouldn't like to see your own wife pictures and video of your own wife in action while you're insane.
No. I mean, what's the point of porn is that it's a fantasy.
Yeah, the fantasy is my wife said yes tonight, but the reality is she went to bed early.
Not for me, thanks.
I think why porn is like this, and in fact, I think even as a Christian, that's sort of an end around to the whole porn debate, where you can make an argument that porn is immoral, but you can't make an argument that wife porn is immoral.
Yeah.
It's within the confines of marriage. It's something we're doing anyway. I just recorded what we did a couple days ago. Now I'm rewatching it. How can that be a sin?
Wife porn is only acceptable if you happen to be married to a porn star. That's the only way that I would think that would be.
Oh, no,
nobody wants to see their wife. Nobody likes to see their wife in that way, do they?
I do. I would prefer to see my wife.
All right, so you and I look at porn stars differently then. I see them as dirty and nasty, and that's part of it. I don't want to be married to that. That's not something that I want to produce children with.
But you already know her, the person. Now you're seeing a real person do stuff, and she's not going to be as horrible and nasty as the skanks that you watch. She's still going to be a cute little soccer mom, suburban wife, and she's just as beautiful as when she's there in real life. And you're documenting the love y'all have made previously to help you out in a bind in the present. I think it's a beautiful thing.
I disagree, but okay.
Wow.
I can see where you're coming from. We're just two completely different people on this issue, as we are on a number of them. All right.
Divorced.
So recapping now, old dudes are just hateful about porn simply because I believe they missed out on it.
It's jealousy issue, and I can't blame them. I would be incredibly jealous.
They are angry that your average 13-year-old is more sexually advanced than they ever were or are. I mean, that's really what it is. They probably, but honestly, it's a trade-off. I mean, these people got to smoke wherever they wanted. They got to be mean to black people at will. Although I guess that's kind of coming back. They got to be mean to gay people. So they had their things. They had their things that we don't do now. That maybe they can, cheap gas.
It's a horrible trade-off.
I would think so, yeah. But to an old man, it might seem like, yeah, you're damn right. I remember when we could call a fruitcake and nobody said nothing. Now they cancel me. Now Don Lemon gets all angry.
You think old people celebrate that?
He's facing 20 years in prison for each charge. It's unclear if he had a lawyer. I'm guessing he don't.
He ain't going to make it 20 years in prison.
Yeah, no, that's a life sentence for this guy. All right, what else is trending? What else do I want to get into here? Let's see. Oh, this is a good one. Do you know, James, that 30 years ago today, this was a big day in music 30 years ago today.
Was this Nirvana or something?
Two albums, two massively successful and popular albums were released on this day 30 years ago. Red Hot Chili Peppers, Blood, Sugar, Sex, Magic, which is the album that mainstreamed the Red Hot Chili Peppers, and Nirvana's Nevermind, both released on the exact same day today, 30 years ago. Now, let me go off on a bit of a rant here because I am a Gen X guy, and that was my wheelhouse. I was big into music back then. I was just about to embark on a radio career, and so I felt that, I had all the takes on music that were important, and everybody else was wrong. Red Hot Chili Peppers' Blood Sugar Sex Magic is a totally overrated album. That's right. I said it. I'll take it one step further. The Red Hot Chili Peppers are a totally overrated band. Now, that doesn't mean, look, we don't live in a black and white world. There is a gray world. There is a lot of nuance here. The Red Hot Chili Peppers are fine. I would go see them in concert and I would have a great time seeing them. But they are not. I know people who think the Red Hot Chili Peppers are the greatest band of all time. And the fact of the matter is that they've got a lot of duds. A lot of their musics are just like musical, masturbatory, self-indulgent bits of bullshit. Flea is not at the slightest bit entertaining to me. People are like, oh, Flea is awesome. Really? Okay, I guess he's a good bass player, but I don't require that much bass in my songs. I don't need it.
Well, but Flea's on the level of bass playing where the stuff that he does is technically difficult, but still culturally hip. And it's so difficult that there's half the bands that are out there, their basses couldn't even pull it off.
Yeah, look, I guess they're wonderful musicians. I just don't find their songs to be as incredible as, I hate to say it, but Nirvana's Nevermind is an album deserving of all that it gets because Nirvana's Nevermind changed music. I say this all the time. The week before Nirvana Nevermind shot up to number one, the number one song that people of my generation were listening to and dancing to was by Ace of Base. So, I mean, when you think of going from I saw the sign and I opened up, you think of going from that straight into Smells Like Teen Spirit. That was a culture shifting moment, not only for my generation, but for the music industry in general. I mean, come on, you remember this song? Listen to this. This is like, we can't play the real version.
All right, I get what you're doing here. So the thing that got me about Nirvana and the whole cultural shift was when you're a little boy growing up in the middle of rural East Texas and you hear these songs on the radio that are awesome, like Talk Dirty to Me, or Great White, or some the biggest bands, whether it's freaking Def Leppard or anybody, and then you go and you see their album cover or you see their music video, and they have long poofy hair and they have on eyeshadow and eyeliner, they have on some bright lipstick, they got blush to kind of contour their cheeks, gives a little contouring. And all right, I don't like this so much anymore. This does not relate to me. I'm dirty, I'm wearing some busted old jeans, and I'm wearing some nappy old snap shirt. I these guys in makeup and lip gloss, and you're wearing the tight little pants, and you're showing off like half your chest or whatever, you're nasty, you're gross, and it looks really effeminate, and it's embarrassing, and I don't want to be associated with it. And so Nirvana came out of that. Kurt Cobain's not wearing makeup. Dave Grohl's not wearing makeup. No one's wearing sequins. No one has on anything glittery, or they're wearing the platform shoes like Kiss. There's no face makeup. There's no spray painting your hair and getting it all teased up like Axl Rose and Welcome to the Jungle. I mean, that looks silly.
I hated that. That was the Sunset Strip era of metal. Like there was some cool metal in the years prior to that, like the Scorpions and stuff like that.
They're like Black Sabbath. They look more like Nirvana.
Yeah, Ozzy,
Mm-hmm.
And then all of that stuff sort of turned into this real sort of pansified, at least to my estimation. It was what I looked at. I didn't like, and it all became very poppy and very bubblegummy. Like,
yes.
I'm sorry, but Talk Dirty to Me by Poison is not a metal song. That is a pop song through and through, performed by a bunch of dudes who are dressing up like ladies.
Yeah, and the lady part really bothered us because it kind of draws you to rap sort of in the late 80s. Remember, I'm from rural East Texas, where you go out and you get dirty and you do a lot of stuff barefoot, and then you play football, and then you ride a horse, and then you get in a fist fight. And then so you go and turn on the TV, and this guy's running around in like spandex with his chest hair kind of popping out, like David Lee Roth, good singer, but man, they just look effeminate. They look like sis.
Well, hold on now, David Lee Roth.
On the other side of the spectrum, you have gangster rap emerging to where it's like, you know what? I like NWA better than I like Ricky Rocket.
Yeah. But to double back to your David Lee Roth, stood out because he was the only guy in that band that was like that. The rest of Van Halen just looked like dirtbag garage rockers. I mean, David Lee Roth.
Kind of true, but in the way that sort of style pushed me away from rock, Nirvana drew me back in. It's like, okay, I can like rock again without feeling weird about it.
Yeah, no, they did that for a lot of people, and it changed the way the music industry was looking. I mean, we had the entire grunge movement after that. I mean, millions of dollars were made instantly as soon as Smells Like Teen Spirit, this song.
Yeah. No copyright protection here, that's for sure.
That's right. I love. Here, wait.
Sounds just like it. Good job, guys.
Piano was my favorite.
Nailed it.
Yeah, that sounds good. You're nailing it, boys. Very good. All right, so on this day 30 years ago, Smells Like Teen Spirit was released at the exact same time as Blood Sugar Sex Magic, and I don't consider them in the same league. I consider one to be a completely overrated album, and the other to be justifiably one of the great, iconic, music-shifting, culture-shifting albums of all time. That's about it, man. We've gone 1 minute over here on the high noon edition of Pugs and Company with Parker. Call this the Pugs and Parker version of High Noon. I appreciate you being with me. Emil, Uncle Lee, a.k.a. Sunglasses. By the way, something funny. So my son, refers to Emil as Uncle Emil, right? And he just always has from the time he was a little kid. He's Uncle Emil. He's got another kid. There's another friend of mine, Aaron, who he calls Uncle Aaron too, but he doesn't see Aaron quite as much. But when it comes up, he refers to...
You're an only child. That's how it works.
Yeah, it is. It absolutely is. My best friends are the ones that I sort of trust in the way that I might have trusted brothers. I don't know if that's reciprocal, but it's certainly the way I feel, And I think in the case of the people who I've dubbed, he also has an Uncle Ed who he does know at the same level as Uncle E. But my kid now, he's dropped the uncle, and it's so cute. He now just refers to him as E. What's E? Like E is like a unequal, like he's a kid on the playground. Like it's just not Mr. E, not, because there's some respect put on the uncle title. When you
Not
put
anymore. Not
no,
anymore.
not
It's even
anymore.
co-equal power, right?
Now it's just E. Like this weekend, E is out of town living the jet set lifestyle of the one percenters. He's literally watching his horses run at Churchill
Owns a
Downs.
racehorse. Great. Yeah.
Dude, he doesn't just own a racehorse. He owns race horses. And we're not talking about just race horses that run on there's a lot of BS tracks out there. His shit runs at Churchill Downs in Arlington. I mean, these are real thoroughbred, one day working their way up to being in the Kentucky Derby and in the Triple Crown races. So he's there, and my kid's like, he's coming over this weekend. And he's like, hey, we going to be able to go out on the lake this weekend? We going to go out with E? And I'm like, well, no, he's not going to be here. He's watching his horses run. He's like, oh, all right. I'm like, why? And he goes, well, I just like it when we go out with E because, we have a lot of fun on the tube because Uncle E will take Mace, my son, out on the tube and on Lake Louisville, and he's got the supercharged, super fast jet ski, so he gets the good whips going, and the kid goes flying off with Uncle E, and it's all a lot of fun. And he tells me, he goes, I go, well, we can still go out. I mean, we have privilege, we have dock privileges, it doesn't matter. And he goes, nah.
No, it's not the same, man. Dad sucks.
What do you mean? Yes, because Dad is worried about having to explain to his mother why he broke his arm on Lake Louisville being thrown off of, but he doesn't have that worry. So he just takes him and has as much possible. And I guess that is the role of an uncle, right?
Right.
Not to be, the uncle is making memories and the father is in a defensive position, trying to make sure that the kid.
Uncle's over there. At least your mom has insurance, right?
Yes, exactly. All right, that's going to do it. Thank you, James Parker. Once again, folks, like I said, we only need to raise about $150 a week, and we ain't doing that. We're coming to the end of the month. The show will continue. I promise you, this isn't begging for, it's just letting you know how you can support the show. And you can do that by hitting any of those little things down there. Pugs Moran on Venmo, Pugs Moran on PayPal, or Pugscast on Cash App.
Or can we say, look, if you send us a donation and just tell us what your business is and we'll give it a mention, right?
That's fine. Yeah, we can do that. We
got to be a donation. You could buy advertising
right there. Yeah, sure. Whatever you want to do. That's fine. And again, not a hard sell. I mean, a number of you have helped out, and man, that's certainly appreciated. Nobody expects you to, donate every week. But, there's some of you that haven't. And if you haven't and you can't, that's fine. What I would ask of you then is just share the show. Just spread it around. Do what you can to promote the show. And honestly, if you don't feel that way, then okay. And now I feel bad because what are we doing here? We're just wasting our time. Maybe I need to go out and drive Uber. Or something like that. Amazon deliver. Because honestly, I am not qualified to do, I found this out the hard way. I am not qualified to do anything else in the world that would actually make me a decent living. This is pretty much it. So the goal is $600 per month. We got 1 week left and we are nowhere near that, but that's all we're going to say on that. If you can't donate through a tip, if you can't donate in some way, please share the show and help promote it that way. We do appreciate all of you. Adam Morena, I love you too. I love what I love about Adam is that he's like E. His job is to set me off. And I just, by the way, people need to understand this, but I think you understand this about me. When I get set off on you and I go off on you, that makes my heart sing. That's happy. That's not really, the minute it's over, I'm not going to still be mad. I just enjoy the explosive nature. And if you're one of the few people, and Adam Morena is one of the few people who can tap into that at will, he has my code. He has my PIN number. He can trip that switch anytime he wants. I do appreciate it. So thank you, Adam. I do. I love you as well and your beautiful wife and your lovely family. All right, folks. Joel, you're the best. Joel, I don't want to see you donating anything. You already helped out. Let's see. Say goodbye to April. Say goodbye to Bill. I can't. Now I gotta push through all this. The people.
Jeff, Adam, Lau, Leslie.
Jeff, Leslie, you don't need to do anything either. Leslie has helped out in ways that I can never, ever. Kevin, the same way. Lyle is. It's so good to see Lyle back.
He's a funny dude.
Lyle is the best. Brian and all of you. I got to get me Jennifer Blair Martin, old friend from back in the day. She used to be an early Facebook nemesis of mine, and now we just love each other. Yeah, okay, well, thank you, folks. Have a great weekend, and we will be back on Sunday night with a very special guest. I don't know if I told you about this, James. One of my favorite people in the whole world, one of the people that I owe almost everything to, didn't just agree to come on the show on Sunday. I didn't even have to ask this gentleman. He called me because we stay in touch. And
dude, are you going to tell me, or?
And he said, when are you going to invite me on your show? And I was like, I would have never dared. I would have never even thought. My mentor, one of the greatest radio personalities of all time, Chicago legend, Radio Hall of Fame bound, the unbelievably talented Kevin Matthews is going to sit in with us for a while on Sunday night. So I might be a little bit nervous. I might be a little bit, weirded out, but very, very excited about that. So that's coming up on the Sunday night edition of Pillow Talk. Happens at 10 o'clock. We do this show each and every Monday through Friday at noon. That's what this is. We call it High Noon. And then we circle back Sunday night through Thursday night for Pillow Talk. For James Parker, I am Pugs Moran. This has been Pugs and Company on the Radio Misfits Network.